Hello, everyone.
Welcome to
Welcome to Purpose
Friday,
Fridays with
Sharing
Sherry, friends, and
Family. Derek Watson here with
here with
you
you
today.
today.
Want to thank you all for
Thank you all for
joining.
joining us.
Great lineup for you today. We're going to have Sherry Watson join us shortly. She's going to be discussing everything with you regarding nonprofit startup, strategies, tips, and also answering your questions on live Q&A. So joining us here right now is Sherry Watson. Hi, Mom.
Hey, that's my favorite greeting. Hey guys, welcome to Purpose Fridays, the best happy hour going, I'm telling you. So, it's been a whirlwind of a week since last week when we met. So, last week we had such a great beginning of our happy hour, our Purpose Friday, really sharing my journey and then being able to share what's going on with you guys, the masterminding that went on, the folks that spoke up and talked about their nonprofits, their passion, their purpose. And we went a little long, you guys. I had no idea we went for, what, 2.5 hours or more? So they said, hey, it's not a happy hour weekend, just make it a happy hour. So today I'm going to shorten my time with you and what I'm going to lead us into. And then today we're going to open it up for Q&A at the end. So get your Q&A in, because last time we did an hour and 45 minutes of Q&A and still didn't get to them. So what we've decided as a team is that we're going to take the first 3 or 4 Q&As that come in, and each week we'll be doing that. So you guys, I just want to say welcome, fun happy hour, and I'm going to get my clock. And it's me that goes over time. That's why they always have a clock behind me. And I wanted to show you the clock behind me. The flag behind me. You can barely tell, but you guys, I'm home. This is the New Mexico flag. You can't tell much, but I'm going to show you our symbol. The New Mexico flag, the Zia sign, and all that. I'm home. This last week, since we've seen each other and we're with each other, we've done a connecting visit in Phoenix. We did a summit here in Albuquerque. And this morning, our team was here from San Diego, and we had folks from all over. And we met with our lead mentor on charitable giving of real estate. We met with one of our lead senior designated realtors in the country. He came. So I have so much to share with you today. We all want to use these happy hours together, our Purpose Fridays, really leading you through the cutting edge, what's working, what we're doing right now. It's hard to put this all in an hour conversation because so much is happening. The opportunity for each one of you guys right now to go out and make the impact and bring the finances to you. You know, I want to continue with last week, and those of you that might be new this week, last week I shared my journey of getting involved in the hard way, right? Literally, through a brain injury, being in a coma, and learning my purpose. I shared that journey, how we built coalitions, how we built a movement and came together and created the Americans with Disabilities Act. And that how now the power of purpose, with our mission to launch and empower at least 10,000 nonprofit corporations so that we can bring solutions, bring love, build communities. We've done that through the disability movement. And so now we're so excited to be able to bring that to you, to start building those movements. Last week we heard we have people working on veterans programs, people working on wellness centers, people that are passionate about senior housing, renewable energy. Now what we're doing at the Power of Purpose, through many different avenues, through Nonprofit University, through our mentoring program, through our Purpose into Profits, through our nonprofit web class. You can go check it out, nonprofitwebclass.com. We're bringing together folks like you that are stepping up. They're looking at, what's my legacy going to be? How can I make a difference? How can I leave the kind of world that I want my kids and grandkids to have, that they have opportunities like we have? We're gathering folks together to start sharing with each other what's working, what worked in Arizona, what just happened in Indiana. This is going on in Illinois. What's happening in Ohio? What are we doing for a rural economic development community in the way of bringing nonprofits together to change paradigms for our broken systems? That's what we're sharing. And so Purpose Fridays is such a wonderful place for us to gather and harness that brain power, that philanthropic, that solution-oriented options and solutions that you're bringing forward. So last week when I shared how my journey started and why I'm here now, I talked about our movement and the independent living centers. That was that one nonprofit we started with, just like with veterans right now, starting a movement where veterans can come together and develop nonprofits, and you're facilitating, you're serving veterans, have them be at the forefront. We did 4 core services, so every single nonprofit in our movement had information referral, peer support, independent living skills training, and advocacy. We wanted to teach people that were in nursing homes that had lost control of their life and destiny how to get control back into leading their destiny, how to become part of the advocacy system where we can meet with legislators, we can talk to Congress, we can meet with our mayor, we can talk to our city council. That's how we really led it. And one center turned into another nonprofit. 800 nonprofits later, look what we've done. And the reason I wanted to back us up, what happened this week in Phoenix is the next leads perfectly, and it wasn't planned. That's what happens when you're on the right path. We went to Phoenix, and I'm going to bring our mentoring student on one of our calls. I didn't have time because it's been a whirlwind. I was going to invite her today. But Heidi set up a nonprofit called Foundation to Foster Empowerment. And that nonprofit's mission is to improve the lives of young adults aging out of foster care that are homeless, at risk of being homeless, and are hopeless, to give them hope, to bring affordable housing, to bring the support so they can maintain it. As we started our connecting visit, the power behind that, you guys, is that Heidi already was out connecting. She had taken our mentorship. She was so excited about our nonprofit. She went to the Rotary Club meeting and talked about her nonprofit. She went to her different civic groups and her different realty meetings, and she talked about her nonprofit. And when we went to our first meeting with the Arizona Department of Housing, again, that's a great place to connect, whether you're doing Youth Entrepreneurial Center, whether you're doing housing, whether you're doing incubator, whether you're going to be involved in real estate. And so they're the ones that have all the funding that comes from HUD. They have state funds. When we walked in and Heidi started the conversation, why this was important to her, you could feel the passion. You could see that she truly is bringing solutions, that she has determination, perseverance, business skills, and the purpose and passion to make it happen. So I'm going to have her come on as one of our great guests. She's a family and a friend now with this. I'm going to have her come in and share her experience of what that was like. One of the things that she said to us, she owns her own business, very successful, very great at being out there connecting. She has no idea the government world. She would have no idea who to make the meetings with. People don't even know all these state agencies exist and that. So the power of what we can bring to you, mentoring and guiding you in our happy hours and our Purpose Fridays, is where to go connect and building that conversation when you connect. What I want to bring us to full circle today was sharing last week with you my journey and our successful track record and being able to bring it to the rest of the country and the rest of the constituents, teaching how to do that. Was one of our connecting visits was with the Independent Living Center. We created the independent living movement. We said people with disabilities are going to lead the way. No longer are we going to have people building programs for us without us. So 51% of our board of directors must be people with disabilities. So from the very beginning, we have people leading the way that have disabilities. And then our staff majority are people with disabilities. I want you guys to hear that. If you're working with veterans, working with seniors, working with youth, have them leading and helping guide the direction of your corporation. When we went to the last connecting visit in Phoenix, and I took Ed with us, and Ed's going to be on the call with us. Ed's part of our team, one of the co-founders, has 2 law degrees, but left law practice years ago because he knew to make a bigger impact, he could start raising capital for socially conscious entrepreneurs. So he's part of our team. So when we went to our last connecting visit a couple of years ago and met with the Independent Living Center, and I don't care if you're doing housing, renewable energy, I always take our mentoring students to a visit with the Independent Living Center. And they all have different names. You might hear them called the Center for Independence or the Disability Resource Center. Or so you can Google Independent Living Center in your area and you'll find the name. They're very strong advocates. They have been involved in changing systems. They're a great resource to go to talk to them about your youth program. We have youth initiatives in the independent living movement. See how you can work together. Heidi, we went to this center and they were having a youth empowerment leadership summit for all the youth with disabilities. And started talking about what Heidi's doing. And the lady said, oh my gosh, 5 of our great students last year were from foster care that had aged out. So many of them have PTSD, have traumatic brain injuries, and what we've done in our way of healing and medical model, we give them a handful of pills. They don't quite fit in that box. Maybe they don't think the same way. They can't sit in a classroom for 8 hours. So let's give them Ritalin. Let's give them Prozac and Haldol, and let's zombie them out so we can manage them. Okay? So Heidi's bringing a new way of healing, neurofeedback, bringing in different resources. So here she is at this disability center. What's that have to do with youth aging out, right? Well, it finds out that 5 of the youth leaders are from foster care. So now they're connecting. They're figuring out how they can work together. What I want to paint that picture for you is 2 years ago when Ed and I went to that disability center. It was in an office, overgrown, everybody in cubicles on top of each other. We went this week, and it's very emotional for me being a part of this. It's called the Disability Empowerment Center. 100,000 square feet. Do you hear me? 100,000 square feet of the most state-of-the-art, the most beautiful building, a gym, just like any other fitness center you'd walk into, right? It's got an Olympic pool. You walk in and it's got a ceiling to the sky with all sunlight. It's got murals painted all the way around. The gold medal Olympic winner for wheelchair basketball in Paralympics. The 3 guys that do rugby that are paralyzed from the neck down that have that maybe murder ball. It's amazing. And they're now a center that has 50 other agencies housed within that. They built a huge center that encompasses the Autism Center, the Brain Injury Alliance Center, the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation, the Assistive Technology Center. Think about that for people that are aging. Now, all the assistive technology that folks don't even know about, the power that brought to me to share with Heidi and Ed where we came from, how we started 25 years later to walk in to a spotlighted center in this country. I've not seen anything like it. And it came from folks just like you that were just starting out, that had a purpose, that believed. And now Phil, the director, has worked with the City of Phoenix, the State of Phoenix, the different foundations. I mean, there would be, the Nina Pullman Trust. Their name was over the Aqua Center because they had funded that part of it. They had a whole wall with beautiful plaques in different colors of the different sponsors they'd had. They've been brought in corporate America, the big corporations, the airlines, the different industries. They have corporate programs that they pay for all their employees to go to this fitness center for their wellness. Think about where we came from and what we just saw. So I'm going to leave a little bit of kind of like the 10 o'clock news. I can't wait for Heidi and Ed to come on and share the results that happened from these 2 days, from our connecting visit. So sharing today that purpose, that happy hour where you start going out and connecting, and I'll give you a little hint of what you're going to find out next week. One of the agencies we went into, and the questions that came out from us saying, does this fit in your mission, state agency? And the state agency director, the director of this hundreds of millions of dollars come in there each year. And he said, our mission is to serve and protect the most vulnerable populations in Arizona. That fits perfect. And then for one of the other staff, and they brought in several of their staff, they took us serious. They sat with us. And for them to say, we have funding available right now for up to 2 to 3 homes. And when can it happen? It can happen now. I won't give away the rest. That was one piece of funding that we found that's going to build this overall project. So connect, connect, connect. And I know last week we had folks on that said, we have a camp, serves disadvantaged kids. We've never reached out for funding. Go out and connect. The Wellness Center in Hawaii, Uma, has. Go out and connect. Shifting that paradigm, what we did in Albuquerque yesterday, so I keep shifting gears because there's just so much has happened in the last few days. We did the Phoenix. the 2 days of just connecting. We met with the governor's office, we met with USDA, we met with the Arizona Housing Department, we met with some foundations. Amazing what's unraveling and putting this program together, because we're connected. And Heidi spoke from her heart. She believed, she had purpose of why she was doing this, and she backed it up with statistics. I mean, to sit there and say, I volunteered at a homeless shelter, and I saw so many young people coming through, and I wanted to know their stories. And when I kept hearing that they'd come out of foster care, when I sat with the director and we started looking into things, and he started telling me 30% of our homeless population are folks that have been in foster care. I'm telling you, the awareness, what she's bringing forth, the purpose she had, it brought people from sitting at a table with their arms crossed to leaning over and being part of the conversation, wanting to be part of what we were doing. So that was one way we did it. We went out and connected. The next day, our team drove to Albuquerque. And yesterday, we had the first conversation for Thrive Hive. It's a nonprofit called Thrive 505 here in Albuquerque, whose mission is to transform the paradigm of the way we age, live, and die. To create a community where we are able to talk about dying, we're able to give people the support, that intentional community. We had a state legislator, we had the leader of charitable giving of real estate, we had the most well-known senior real estate, senior designated real estate realtor in the country that's been in USA World Today's front cover article on senior housing. He's the one they quote. We had people from the healing community talking about the complementary medicine, the alternative medicine. We had medical doctors talking about the integrative medicine. We had hospice nurses and hospice leaders. It's amazing. So instead of go out and connect with them, we put together a form that said we want to co-create this intentional community, and we're going to have our first conversation of what it'll look like. Please come and be part of it. And to be in a room full of so many different disciplines, expertise from so many areas, to have the legislator say, you know what, we could take this to that committee on economic development. And then this would go on health and wellness. And then to have the hospice nurse talk about needing a place where people could go. Not everybody wants to stay in their home, but we have no hospice homes. Talking about aging in place. The director of the Agency on Aging talking about we also need to have the supports where people can stay and age in place. It was beautiful, that co-creation of what that intentional community looks like a Del Webb community. You know, that senior community back in the 60s started, and now we have Del Webb communities all over this country. My mom lives in one. That same conversation with a new paradigm, a new community where we embrace and build a community, bring in youth and bring in elders, bringing kids with autism, so it's very interesting that the different way we experienced this last week, going out and connecting. You guys gotta do it. When you were looking for funding, that's what everybody's looking for. Doesn't matter if for-profit, non-profit, right? They're looking at funding. And you can go to grants.gov if you're a nonprofit and you're in this world. And there's millions of requests for proposals, notice of funding applications, right, for the different federal agencies. It's very difficult. It's very competitive to go with the federal application. Get your feet wet. Don't spend your time spinning your wheels on writing applications through the thin air when you don't have the support yet. Working with state agencies, working with our local leaders, but they don't have a website that says arizona.gov. Where you can go look at them. It's all about connecting. When we met with USDA and they said, oh, this website, it's not published, no one knows about it. This is where you're going to find the funding opportunities. And then when we met with the Homeless Coalition, they fund nonprofits, but they don't have anywhere on the websites anywhere. She gave us a link of a place where they actually put applications and the invitations on there. So you've got to go out and connect to find out where the funding is. To wrap up where this week has taken us, I think instead of a happy hour, it's been a happy week. Ever since I met with you guys, it's been the best happy hour I've experienced for a week long. Because now, sitting at that meeting yesterday in Albuquerque was the lead senior designated realtor in the country, the lead of this whole country for charitable giving of real estate. Derek, the leader of Living Legacy Institute, that is the national nonprofit that's facilitating for folks like you guys, getting that funding out to all the nonprofits. We had a room full of people and state legislators that came together to take that this morning and meet for 2 hours with the core team and spend this 2 hours talking about the most untapped funding opportunity in the history of our country is happening right now in charitable giving of real estate, and the Power of Purpose is leading that initiative. We've met with the Clinton Foundation. We've met with University of New Mexico. Our mentor, our leader, has brought in $20 million to George Washington University that never accepted real estate. You guys, 400 and some billion was donated to nonprofits last year. Is that right? 456 billion. I have to get with my statistician here. And only 2% of that came from real estate donations. Do you see the opportunity in front of you? With us leading the way, with us having the team that has the expertise to talk to donors, to work with donors, all the different benefits that come to donors, these baby boomers that have achieved so much wealth and now are in their 80s, and talk about their wealth transfer and what's their legacy. I mean, so often I meet with people that are in their 50s, in their 60s. I met with a couple of billionaires recently that are, I consider younger and younger. It used to be 50 or 60 years old. Oh, that's young now, right? And they say, you know what? I've created an empire and I have all the stuff you can imagine. I've got planes and boats and trains and you name it, right? Now I'm stepping back and say, okay, I've complicated my life. I've got everything. What's my legacy? What's my legacy? What am I about? And there's a lot of people having that conversation right now. You need to be a part of that conversation, that you now have stepped forward, you set up your nonprofit. You can help them with their wealth transfer. At the same time, they could leave a legacy by believing and bringing real estate to your nonprofit. So it's been an amazing happy hour week, and I wanted to just share what's happened this week with us. I want to tell you to get that conversation out there, you guys. Start talking to people about the opportunity to donate their real estate. And you guys, it's not like they just give their property. They can do partial. We can set up charitable remainder flip trust where they can receive an income. It's amazing what it does for our elders that have assets, homes and second and third homes and multi-units in Florida, and they're just a drain to them emotionally. So take this forward, you guys, and call our office, email us. We have the team. We find someone that has that property and says, I'd be interested. We'd love to help you bring in the funding, whether to a church. We're working with many, many groups right now that the deacons, they want to give more. My mom and dad, my dad loved giving. And you give him a strategy where he can take some of his real estate, their land, the different properties, and convert that to cash to be able to tithe in their church even more. They're all over it. That's what we've done this week. We've done the connecting. We've done the summit with the conversation of co-creating an intentional community with the leaders that bring funding to the table. And we've also met with the charitable giving of real estate team, taken the power of free real estate, our software, taken that to another level. So with that, Derek, it's been a whirlwind. Because I almost wasn't going to do the webcam because, as you can tell, I'm like leaning in the chair. It's been an amazing time. And we're so happy, so grateful, so excited to share this with you guys, to be able to give you tools and resources, to join our movement of launching and empowering at least 10,000 nonprofits. And then giving you guys the tools and the resources to bring in the finances so that you can make even a bigger impact. So Derek, I'm not going to take us on for a couple hours today. I want to open it up for Q&A. I want to share the energy and excitement with everybody else.
Okay, everyone, let's begin our live Q&A session. So once again, on your control panel, you are going to see on the drop bar questions. That's where you can type up your question, submit it over for us to answer. And we've had some questions come in during that brief chat, so let's go ahead and get started. So first off, question from Jerome. Is there a difference between a religious nonprofit and a traditional nonprofit?
Yes. You guys, there's going to be a little bit of lag time in between Q&A because Derek and I didn't make it back to the office. We're sitting in the same office. We had a meeting in this morning, and so there's echo, so just want to tell you. Yes, there is a difference with the faith-based initiative with the church. What's so incredible, though, is the way they've leveled the playing ground. When we met at the governor's office in Arizona, we met with the director of the faith-based initiative. What he does is reaches out to churches. And so whether you're a religious organization or a nonprofit that's not, connect with the faith-based initiative. So if you're a church, there is a difference. But there's not a difference within government for the faith-based initiative. President Bush signed that into the executive order. His first executive order when he came into office was the faith-based initiative. And all 13 federal agencies have a faith-based office. And again, I told you last week, call the governor's office ask for the information director, whoever, they answer, ask them who oversees the faith-based initiative. Sometimes it's in the governor's office, sometimes they have another agency, but for a church, yeah, there is a difference. And then another way we've done it with churches, you guys, because the church was so focused on just the church services, but was wanting to expand into a food bank or a shelter or transitional living, we set up a separate nonprofit that was connected with the church that way. So there's so many ways, but yeah, there is a difference. But with faith-based initiatives, it's amazing. Go meet with them.
Great. The next question is from John. Does your program work in Canada?
Oh, that's so awesome. Yes, I've done. Yeah, it works in Canada, it works in Nicaragua, it works in Guatemala, it works in. We've done it to where there's some folks that they set up the nonprofits here, they're from here, and then they go do work in the Philippines or from there, Guatemala, wherever. But then as far as it working for you in Canada, definitely. There was a group in Nicaragua, and again, whether it's Canada, Nicaragua, Africa, they all have their own way of doing government. So like even the Navajo Nation where I grew up and was right on the border and lived and built a center there and did an elder care and did great things there. They have their own tribal council, their own delegation. It's the same thing as here, okay? So Canada, you've got your own system. Man, definitely what we're teaching is exactly what you could be doing in Canada. Go connect with them, find out how you can bring solutions to them. And the charitable giving of real estate, what's so great about it with you being in Canada, you guys, it works international. So Chase, our lead team member, has facilitated in Argentina, I mean, you name it. Folks even here, folks in Canada, with you, John, might get, an inheritance. It's been happening a lot where their families had property in Costa Rica or Puerto Rico, and they can't really go there. They don't want to hassle with it. So that's been part of the charitable giving of real estate. So definitely in Canada, you have some great nonprofits in Canada. We've been working with some there too.
Okay, I'm going to mesh these next two questions together from Jonathan, and also we have JP. Just about these webinars, just on the technical side, two things to answer both of them. Yes, these webinars are live, as well as the Q&A every Friday, Purpose Fridays, with Sherry, friends and family, and also these webinars are recorded. So you will have access to these and past recordings soon on our website and also on our new YouTube channel. And keep checking your email for that. We'll be sending you notifications about when we post these recordings. Now that this is, we've got a few installments going now. I'm doing this every Friday for you. So we'll also be giving you access to all those that are recorded. Okay, next question is from Yvonne. It says, hi Sherry, this is Francis and Yvonne. How soon can we take our nonprofit to achieve the 501c3 status to take off? We are rookies.
I love the rookies, you guys, because that means, man, you got the energy and enthusiasm. And let me talk a little bit about the 501c3, because what happens, you get set up in the state, so everyone on this call should have a nonprofit, and if you don't, go get one set up. We've got the tools, we can walk you through that. So you're a set up corporation at the state level. So you're a nonprofit corporation. The next level is for you to become tax exempt, and that's the 501c3. Now you're a 501c3, right, with IRS. Folks get too hung up on that, so I'm going to tell you guys, don't let that deter you. IRS gives us 27 months to file for our 501c3. And there's some reasoning, there's thought behind that. They want us to have time to build out the programs, to be thinking about what we're going to be doing, like with Heidi, like with Lisa, like all of our students. You know, working with our student in Kansas City, we're really now building programs. So we're looking at buildings, our folks in Wichita Falls, Texas, you know, looking at buildings. But before we can go do that, we got to lay out what does it look like. Are we going to, what kind of services are we going to provide? And then take that forward, okay? IRS, when you fill out that 1023 form, and that's what you fill out for IRS, it's like a 29-page document, pretty intense, and they want you to provide narratives and budgets, and so until you've really worked through it, but what's important for every one of you to hear, listen, that you don't need your 501c3 to be hitting the road running right now, because IRS is sometimes it takes a year. Once you even send in your application, it could take a year to get it. What they do is they make it retroactive to the day you became a nonprofit corporation. So for you two, for instance, you guys, you got your nonprofit June 1st. And you don't get your 501c3 till 2016. It's going to come back and say, effective June 1st, 2015, you're tax exempt. My last nonprofit corporation, I had received millions of dollars. I had a donated car. People were donating things before I even became tax exempt. So, yeah, go on down the road, you'll do it. And we've got a lot of trainings. We do a lot on that. But for right now, do not let that hang you up. Go out there, start connecting. You're a nonprofit corporation. This is what you're doing. You're in the process of applying. Not one person asked us over the last visits, are you a 501c3? We're out there connecting, so you guys go out and connect. And one of our Purpose Fridays, although I'm not sure it'd be a fun happy hour, we could talk about the IRS and 1023, and but we have a lot of training and tools to get you on that pathway. And we know some secret ways to expedite. It's not really secret. It's just that I've never had a lot of people have that expertise or known, and we do. There's a couple of clauses with IRS. They say, if you have these two things, we'll expedite it. And last year, I think we did 4 or 5. We expedited within 6 weeks because they had funding hung up. So we've got that. There's another new way to get your 1020, your tax exempt status faster. But the bottom line is, don't let it hang you up from that momentum and energy you have now because you're just going with your nonprofit.
Next from Barbara. Can I buy real estate in the name of the nonprofit before I get the 501c3? What about if it is bought with seller financing? I am providing housing for special needs, veterans, disabled, seniors, aged out foster kids, and also shared housing.
You know, there's so many, it's like real estate, there's so many different answers and different scenarios and all that you can do. Buying property and holding in your nonprofit is a different strategy than charitable giving of real estate. So we're getting real estate donated to us. It's a fast pathway to cash. We're doing bargain sales, so that the nonprofit never goes in chain of title or deed. That's where our focus is. Now, when the property comes to you that has an opportunity to further your mission, so for housing for foster kids, for that kind of thing, there are many, many ways you can work through that with the nonprofit holding the property. So the 501c3, if you need that, again, that's a great way to expedite it. So you can say to IRS, look, I have property waiting that I could hold and further my mission, but I need to be tax exempt. So you can do that. You can work with a fiscal agent. There are many, many different ways. But in the real estate arena, I've done things, our students are doing things all over where they hold real estate in their nonprofit. One of our big projects is just doing phenomenal mentoring student that just took our mentoring and took action every step of the way. And they have about 10 homes right now that their nonprofit is doing the services for transitional living, and their homes are in their for-profit in trust. That one of our mentors led them through that scenario. He has done that, built subdivisions, built thousands of homes. Some of the time he held them in his nonprofit. Some of the times there's been a for-profit and he's built firewalls. So again, it's very individualized, but with each one of our students, we go through, just like any real estate deal, what would work the best to further your mission and makes the most sense in the real estate. So, we could look at it, we could talk to you and see which way is best. But a phenomenal way to create wealth for you and your family that makes an impact in your community because you're paying taxes, and that serves the people is the for-profit nonprofit. And one of these Purpose Fridays, I'll share some of that with you. It's a great strategy done all day, every day. It's just not something we've been educated on. Hospitals, they're nonprofits. They get in grant money to do research centers and research, and then they have a for-profit patent center, collectively billions of dollars a year. Hospitals, they're nonprofits, but they have for-profit radiology, for-profit, It's a great strategy, especially for what you're doing in the real estate space, to maybe hold some of that property in your for-profit and let your nonprofit come in and lease it. So there's a lot of strategies, Eric, on that one.
Next question from Edwin. Hi, Edwin. From Nonprofit University. Do you offer sponsorships for new students? Talking more along the lines of fiscal sponsorship and facilitation.
We do a lot of that a majority. Derek is executive director for our national nonprofit called Living Legacy Institute. And throughout my 30-some years as an executive director for nonprofits, I was fiscal sponsor for many, many nonprofit corporations that grew and became their own, satellite centers that came to us. We had an incubator where we helped small emerging nonprofits, and we were the fiscal agent. So we would facilitate the real estate as a 501c3 and grant them the money. We would write foundations. A lot of times want you to be a 501c3 because of their tax purposes. So we would be just working with them as a fiscal sponsor on the foundation application. So Living Legacy Institute, that's one of their main programs. Their mission is to provide education, to provide services, to grow and empower nonprofits. So we've got the fiscal agency, we've got the fiscal agent, what's it called, the fiscal agent samples and Yeah, we got the agreement. See, you think I already am happy? I can't think of words. So yeah, we definitely that's one of our big services that I've done for 30 some years. So definitely we could help you with that.
Next from Virginia. I am interested in seniors housing, youth program, and also donated real estate in New York. How can I do it? Where do I file application and procedures to do it? And can I join you as a partner in New York City?
I love the New York City. When I was president of our national organization, I spent so much time in New York. They were, I better not say my favorite delegation because there might be people listening, but man, they always had my back. So I'd love to partner with you there. Love it. Um, so read the question again, Derek, because I got carried away. I'm thinking, New York, I want to come be part of them.
Yes, she's interested in seniors housing, youth programs, and also donated real estate. How can I do it? Where do I follow the application procedures to do so? And can you join us as a partner in New York City only?
Love it. Yeah, with the housing again, and it's all about connecting. We would, I mean, definitely could do some senior housing. We work with the Agency on Aging. I've worked a lot in New York with their groups. So definitely, and as far as partnering, we'd love to mentor you along. And so again, you know, Purpose Fridays are just content, but Virginia, someone that's like ready and going to do it, and go to thepowerofpurpose.com/mentoring and fill out an application, and let's see what we can do together, because we did a lot in New York and Brooklyn. We had several centers around that area, and so to connect with them to work on housing would be the logical next step.
Okay, next from Mona. My audacious dream is to start a charter school, 9th to 12th high school, focusing on cultural diversity to heighten awareness among our students and staff. How can we access real estate information in our county? Our emphasis for our STEM or STEM, or the tool to drive our STEM, is avionics. We'll need a building large enough to design these classrooms.
That's great. We're working with some charter schools, and there's so much funding availability as far as like the National Science Foundation and different ones that are bringing. They want innovative ideas brought to them to put into the charter schools. There's also Department of Education is doing some things on the real estate end. Beautiful way to find out real estate that you could access to either bring in cash to your charter school just so that you could expand your bring your vision alive, or actual real estate that your charter house school could be involved in is we have some incredible software called the Power Free Real Estate, and it'll help locate, punch in the zip code, and I know we have a lot of folks on the webinar with us today that are part of that mastermind, that coalition. You punch in the zip code where you're at, and they'll find property that's free and clear, vacant, highly appreciated. And to reach out to, it'll give the contact and everything, to reach out to them, let them know what you're doing. Bring in their philanthropic side to what your vision, what your mission's about. So again, we're doing so much in the world of real estate. We're leading the way in this country with Mr. Chase Magnuson leading us in that area. So go to thepowerofpurpose.com. Go to, you know what, a good thing for you to do is just send an email to info@thepowerofpurpose.com if you're interested in the real estate part of it, and we'll get back with you on some of the tools and resources and what we have available.
Next, from Christopher. Does the Power of Purpose offer funding and grant sources, information, or services during the first training phases of Nonprofit University or at the end of the training? This being other than the real estate strategy, or do we have to do all the research ourselves?
We don't offer funding, but like just connecting Visit in Phoenix, we were able to open up the doors to get funding for them, right? So funding is everywhere. It really is out there. So what we do is mentor and guide you. For one thing, I never have 30 some years done the one-shot funding where I'm on this treadmill continually looking for funding. And you see a lot of nonprofits like that. They spend millions of dollars on galas and hiring staff to do fundraising and that. What we want to do is to guide and mentor you on how to be sustainable. You know, there's so many better ways than that. So we don't do the funding. Now, I will share with you that we have many other programs and services, and we've grown so much. A lot of investors have come in that believe in and want to be a part of what we're doing in the transformation in the changing paradigms. And so we have a project right now that Ed is leading on that is going to bring multi-millions to a rural community, partnering with investors, bringing in USDA and all the other sources. And the money that's come in from the investor community, they've set aside $250,000 for our nonprofits. And so we're giving $50,000 funding to 5 of our nonprofits right now because we're going to bring their wisdom, their expertise into this rural community to change that paradigm. In the health and wellness, a nonprofit that's doing energy healing, neurofeedback, and bringing it into the complementary medicine. We're giving them a grant to bring their nonprofit, expand it, and bring it into this rural community. Not just bringing in urgent care and a little pharmacy, but expanding that to bring in the complementary, the integrative way this country needs to be going. You know, bringing in a nonprofit we have that's working on energy efficiency, renewable energy, bringing them in, giving them $50,000 to expand into this rural community as a model to show this country so that we can bring these houses into energy efficiency and renewable energy. And the agencies like USDA, the agencies are loving being part of this because they're leading in a whole new way of building this world. So we are giving grants out in some of those instances, but a bigger play is to bring grants to you in your local community that can sustain you and keep you connected in a much bigger way.
I think Christopher is wondering if that's available at MPU, where we offer funding and grant source information during the first training phases of MPU, which would be course 120.
Oh, okay, Derek. I'm looking over here, guys. For you on MPU, go to course 120. I see what you're asking now. Yeah, Christopher, go to course 120, and you're going to see a lot of the resources and tools there in that first phase.
Letters of inquiry.
Yeah, letters of inquiry.
Grants.
You've got samples there. Grants. Go into the whole grant writing webinar we did, taking you and we did one on Show Me the Money, where we went through government grants, foundations, letter of intent, corporate with cause marketing, fee for service, I can't even think about charitable giving of real estate. So go into that course 120 and you're going to see PowerPoints, webinars, all the things you need on all the different funding mechanisms you can bring in.
Okay, next from Thee. What if you live in one state but want to set up your nonprofit in 2 other states so you can get property and have an office in all 3 states?
You guys are asking the funnest questions for how you're here on Purpose Fridays. That's perfect question. That again, that allows me to talk about the benefits of a nonprofit corporation versus any other corporation. If you, as you know, you have to set up LLC in New Mexico, one in Arizona, and one in Utah, right? With a nonprofit corporation, one nonprofit corporation can serve anywhere in the world. It can have offices in all 50 states and in 3 other countries. Your nonprofit corporation is really established from your bylaws. Okay, we'll talk some more about that. And I know for you in Nonprofit University, there's a whole section on the foundation building of your corporation and the bylaws. So our bylaws say we're located in Denver, Colorado, and can serve elsewhere in the world as directed by the board. So for you, you set up the corporation where you are right now, and then as we go to these other states you want to go to, we set up satellite offices. 3 of our mentoring students now have offices in 3 and 4 different states. A couple of them have offices here and also in the Philippines and Guatemala. So definitely, that's a great one.
Yeah, he has an office in Illinois. Lives in Illinois, has an office in Florida.
Awesome. Illinois and Florida, perfect. So set it up in Illinois, and then we'll go set up a satellite in Florida. Just make sure your bylaws and your board of directors, that's in there, and that we serve elsewhere in the country directed by the board. And then the board says, hey, set up an office in Florida, and you're good to go.
Okay, next question from Ernest Hernandez. Hi, Ernest. Nice to see you on again. Ernest asks, if I connect with people interested in charitable real estate or locate potentially free real estate, what is the process of recruiting help from the Power of Purpose, and what should I expect financially? Yeah, so Ernest, just like with our mentoring students, our students in Nonprofit University, um, it's a simple process of really just boiling down to raising a general level of interest. If they express interest in donating real estate to your nonprofit and would like to hear more, just simply say that you can put them in touch with your team, which is us here at the Power of Purpose, to learn more. And then we can kind of evaluate the property for them, show them all the great work your nonprofit is doing, how that donation will benefit the nonprofit, and also some great incentives for them with tax deductions and other incentives for them based on the property. But you just stay out there and you're just like you are with solicitation of funds from funders or donations, like cash, for example. Same thing with real estate. Just stay focused on the great work your organization is doing, your mission, how these charitable contributions can benefit your organization, and then just simply put them in touch with your team, us, to speak more about it. And we typically set appointments and talk to them initially and move forward from there and begin our evaluation process, and then go into the contract structure, negotiation, closing, and then selling the property, and then facilitating the entire process.
I'm gonna add some. You know me, I always want to add, but after today's meeting, you guys, we told you on Purpose Fridays we'd share what's working with our students around the country and everything. one of our students in Kansas City, I can't wait to bring him on and share his nonprofit and what he's doing. He sent out letters with our software, the Power of Free Real Estate. He sent out letters and he started getting the phone ringing. He got several calls from his letters, the people that were interested. And instead of him trying to get too far in depth, and he's a very astute real estate investor. But this is such a different strategy. His thing is, okay, great. Let me get you with my team of experts. When a good time you can talk. Okay, tomorrow at 10. Okay, great. So he just starts that little initial conversation, and then again leads it back over to our team of experts. That's all I do, you guys. I don't want to know all the detail. I don't want to learn. It would take a lifetime to learn. What Chase is brilliant. Derek, they've got different minds. I know enough to get folks excited. Just tell them there's this great opportunity to transfer their wealth. Okay, great. You're interested? Let me get you with Derek and Chase. So that's all you need to know. Sell them on your mission, you guys. It's all about your nonprofit, your mission, and aligning with people who believe in what you're doing, and then let the team take over. Thanks for asking that. Great. I talked about this morning. Our mentoring students that are doing so great with it. That's all they do. Every week, I'm here for calls this week, and for him just to say, let me get you with my team of experts. And then the credibility that Derek and Chase have done it for 20 years, and it gives a different kind of ease, and they come up with 10 different ways you can have folks. So, and the computer changed the screen. There you go. Okay, Derek, let's take about 2 more questions. I know we have a lot of questions, but let's take a couple more questions, and then we'll continue our happy hour on next Friday. And you guys reach out to us. Email us at info@thepowerpurpose.com. If you're ready to take that next step, go to thepowerpurpose.com/mentoring. Come and join us at Nonprofit University. There's so many ways to stay connected with this. Webinars, we did one last night. So again, so much momentum that it's hard to get it all in this 1 hour. So let's take a couple more questions, Derek, and then let's go have the fantastic weekend and celebrate.
Yes, we've had a number of people that have just asked some follow-up questions. That's why I try to condense it into one for you. But let's hear from some new people, and we'll go rapid fire here. I think we can squeeze in 3. So first from Frenchie, what is the Nonprofit University website?
Go ahead.
Again, if you are currently enrolled, just newly enrolled, that is our continuing education program, where we have modularized trainings of nonprofit startup through more advanced training with example of organizational development and funding. We also have a Facebook group page, as well as a continuing mastermind series on Thursdays. And if you're already there, it's powerpurpose.com/customerhub.net, and then enter your email and password if you're newly enrolled. And if you have trouble with your login information, or if you might have forgotten it, for instance, whatever it might be, if you are currently enrolled, just contact our office and we'll get that over to you.
What about if they're not enrolled? How can they get
enrolled? Contact our office. Okay. Yeah, contact us again if you want to get enrolled. Next is from Veronica. I'm excited about this Power Purpose program. How do you get your 501c status? I work with people with disabilities and I love it.
Yay! Talk about the 501c status. Hey, you're involved with this right now. That's awesome. Send us an email, call our office. You guys, if you want to get more connected, our office number is 505-217-9333. Again, 217-9333, or email us at info@thepowerpurpose.com. There's a lot of ways you can connect with us, and I'd love to spend some time with you, especially working with folks with disabilities. I'm telling you, we are the chosen, so I'd love to spend more time. And so if you're interested in working with us on a more intimate level, you can tell we can't take many people. It's very limited. That's why we have an application. We can only work with a few people on a one-on-one. So go ahead and fill out the application if you're interested. Go to thepowerpurpose.com/mentoring, and we'll look at the application and get together and see where we can go from there. But there's a lot of ways to stay connected with us now. Okay, one more.
Okay, next follow-up from Barbara. She says, I have an heir that has listed a property that is free and clear and seems to be interested. Who pays the agent's commission if the heir wants to donate the property? Again, there's two quick scenarios for you there, Barbara. It just depends upon what you're looking at. If she's essentially your heir is looking to donate the property straight over to you, that would be considered a straight donation. Okay. In the case where a realtor would come into play, or for example, for us with our 6 now national investor buyer networks that purchase our properties quickly, because we like accelerated transactions to get our nonprofits revenue in the quickest manner possible. But in the case of a realtor, still the same standard applies, but we do great things for realtors because they're also a great source for referral. And this is a phenomenal program for realtors too. So the same commissions, whether it's their listing, their buyer, or split from a seller's agent, buyer's agent, etc. We also even include performance bonuses if they can list the property and sell it quickly. And again, we're typically acquiring these properties at a very significant discount. Okay, these properties are leverage less than 25%. Some are free and clear. Okay, so we can do a very quick sale for the realtors and take care of them in the process, give them a lot of great PR by having them help a nonprofit. So it's a phenomenal program for a realtor. So that's how that works. You want to talk more about that facilitating for you? Just contact our office, and we can have our team meet with that property owner to discuss donation if your heir for you. And I took that one, so let's do one more for you. Okay, this someone we haven't heard from yet, Jonathan. Jonathan is, how do I get information to start a financial literacy program in Florida?
Whew, I'm trying to multitask. Oh my gosh, Jonathan, there's so much in the financial literacy world. One of our connecting visits, one of the biggest programs we found was through a foundation in Phoenix. They're funding financial literacy programs through the Jim Casey Foundation. Jim Casey, UPS. They're merging with Ann Casey, several of the family, but they have their own financial literacy program, and they're providing funding to nonprofits to go out and take that training out, right? So one of our students in Florida, Jonathan, got CDBG funding, and what's that stand for? Remember, Community Development Block Grant. That's the lowest hanging fruit for you guys. That's HUD money that comes down to the local level every single year. Cities get CDBG money, counties get CDBG money, and state gets CDBG money. That CDBG money at the local level is based on a plan that is community input that no one knows about, right? They put it in the fine print in the legal section. No one looks at it anymore and says, hey, next week come and give public input for our plan for what we're going to do with our CDBG money. Well, if it's working with seniors, if it's empowering the youth aging out of foster care, no matter what it is, financial literacy fits in that, right? So our nonprofit in Florida, our mentoring student, she and our teams, we went and met with the county and talked about kids aging out of foster care. They were providing housing to populations who'd not had that opportunity in the American dream, which one of them was young adults in foster care. So we started looking at in foster care as they age out, 90% of them were being evicted because all of a sudden they were free, they were on their own, they were getting their stipend, they never paid rent on time. They wouldn't pay rent because they got more tattoos, and they'd get evicted. So going to the county and saying, look, we could do a financial literacy training with these kids would help the tax base economically when we can teach these kids how to pay bills on time and stay in their own apartments and help the housing authority. We got funding from them to do a financial literacy program. And what we did, we used smart money. FDIC has a great financial literacy program. They give you workbooks, CDs, teachers' manuals, a whole bit. So there's one. We've also got funding from the Dave Ramsey Foundation. Another one of our mentoring students in Nebraska was working with young financial literacy with young kids. And Dave Ramsey's foundation, we've got a grant, the workbook, all the materials, it's beautiful. So there's a lot of financial literacy training programs that you can either get a grant for that we can help you with, or you can actually get the materials free and then go again, connect, meet with your local leaders, go meet with other nonprofits, go talk to folks about what's happening in the financial world. And at the federal level, it's kind of no surprise why our country's in the shape it's in as far as debt. The Department of Treasury just the very first financial literacy advisory group. Okay, that's a great place. So we've had students that we connected. We took to Washington D.C. We went and sat in on the meetings. We wanted to hear what they were talking about, where we could be ready. So again, Federal Department of Treasury, look at what's happening in financial literacy. A lot of times they have their minutes archived from these. You can go look at, see what they're talking about, because that's going to lead you to the funding at the local and state level. So financial literacy, amazing opportunity for all of you, working with veterans, with seniors, with kids with autism, kids with disabilities. Doesn't matter literacy, this whole country needs to be put in training in that area. So Jonathan, thanks. And I'm telling you, Derek, this I said we going now, we went a little over now, I think what, hour and 20 minutes. But yeah, come on, I'm happy I didn't do a little bit. I heard a song when I was coming back from Phoenix that I wanted to play on a happy hour today. So next week, I'm going to add a little bit of music in this to our happy hour. So if you guys, any of you play music, have instruments and things, we're going to be bringing you guys on for part of our happy hour. So you guys, I know there's a lot more questions. We really congratulate you for stepping up and taking the initiative, take action to make the kind of impact, bring solutions forward. This country needs you. This country needs all of us right now to be doing what we're doing right now in this happy hour. So with that, I want to thank you guys for making my happy hour the best ever, making my Purpose Friday. I look forward to my Fridays now with you guys. I look forward to what you're bringing forward and for us to be there with you every step of the way. And Derek, I appreciate You always facilitating and setting this up for us. And you guys, we'll see you on next Friday's Purpose Friday, and we'll share our happy hours together. So you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.